From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, September 6th. Another hot and humid day coming our way before cool down and a fantastic weather to follow. Highs today will be in the mid-80s, coupled with that stickiness. There are also chances for widespread rain and a few storms to start the day, a break this afternoon, and then possible redevelopment late afternoon or evening ahead of that cold front. It's going to feel really nice tomorrow and through the weekend. An increasingly controversial project in Hamilton County will wait. The Noblesville Zoning Appeals Board is postponing a decision on a proposed mining project. The board heard about 2 hours of presentation and public comment on the request from Beaver Materials during last night's meeting, but ultimately decided to postpone a vote until next month. The company wants to mine the land north of 160th Street along Cherry Tree Road. If approved, the company could mine for the next decade before restoring the land to its original state. One person from the Indiana Mineral Aggregates Association spoke in favor of the proposal last night. All of the other speakers were against it. They say they're concerned about noise, their health, and the property values.
This company plans on harvesting materials from a property they don't own for the sake of their trust funds for their children.
The board's next meeting is set for October 2nd. A police officer and 2 other people are hurt after a collision of several cars on the northwest side of Indianapolis. It happened yesterday afternoon at 56th and Georgetown Road. Police haven't said who or what caused the crash. It left a police cruiser and at least 2 other cars badly damaged. IMPD says all of those who were injured were awake at the scene. A wounded police dog is back home. IMPD says Ringo left the veterinarian's office yesterday afternoon. Investigators say a burglary suspect stabbed the dog 3 times at an auto shop Friday night. IMPD says it's not yet certain when or if Ringo will return to duty.
They see their friends getting murdered. They see the people that went to school with them getting murdered.
Because you can't lock up your way to public safety.
City leaders, Indianapolis clergy, and community groups are working together to address the issue of young people and violence. They say it's a problem plaguing police and parents in Indianapolis. A panel discussion addressing the issue was held at the Jewel Event Center on North Illinois Street last night. Hannah Mordeau reports.
Well, the theme of the event was Save Our Youth, and what most people really talked about was just the fact that there are too many guns in the hands of young people. I checked the National Gun Violence Archive this morning, and so far in 2023, 57 kids under 18 years old have been hurt or killed by guns here in Marion County. The Marion County prosecutor was on the panel and says this year has been record-breaking for situations with kids and guns, and he's putting some of the blame on the new permitless carry law.
Bad public policy decisions have consequences on our community, and permitless carry is a perfect example of that. There are more guns in our community now than we have ever had. As an agency, the Marion County Prosecutor's Office has filed more dangerous possession of a firearm, which means kids with a firearm, than we have ever filed this year. It's our #1 charge. We have also dealt with more kids unintentionally killing one another because they have access to firearms.
The discussion on youth violence hopes to help stop this growing problem. Police, prosecutors, pastors, and many other leaders came together to talk, find solutions, and hear from the public. Our own Alexis Rogers was the moderator of the event. At times, there was a lot of passion in the discussion. The Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Greater Indianapolis put together the panel. Organizers say they all need to work together to reduce crime for youth in the city. Here's IMPD Chief Randall Taylor after the panel.
You know, on the law enforcement side, we're concerned with the crime rate and what it does. But like them, our solution typically is we make an arrest. And what I like to hear from the other people is they're looking for ways to keep these youth from doing it in the first place and finding out why they feel they have to carry guns and why there's so much anger. And those things are a little bit outside of our lane, but certainly we need to know about them and hear about them and try to work with the community to solve this problem.
Chief Taylor went on to say more parents need to be involved in these conversations and more involved with their kids. Now, this panel is something that they have done in years past, but they added more people to it this time in hopes that that helps spark change.
Again, that was Hannah Mordeau reporting. And today, the two New York men accused of stealing nearly $300,000 in gaming cards from Gen Con in Indianapolis are due in court. The Marion County prosecutor filed theft charges against Thomas Dunbar and Andrew Giammi yesterday. Police say they were the men caught on surveillance video pulling a pallet of the stolen cards through the convention center into the parking garage, then driving off in a rental car with a New York license tag. Their hearing is set for 9 this morning. Expect COVID case counts to keep rising. That's according to Wish TV's medical expert, former Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams. He says the new surge we're seeing right now is not over.
From what I'm seeing in the hospital and in the community, there's no reason to believe that we've hit our peak yet. I expect a few more weeks of continued uptick in cases before we level off and then eventually start to come back down, which means if you haven't gotten it yet, you're still at risk. You still want to take sensible precautions, particularly if you're vulnerable or someone around you is vulnerable.
Adams recommends precautions like getting new boosters as soon as they're available. He says you should test immediately if you experience symptoms so you can get access to treatment. The U.S. Capitol physician says Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell's recent health episodes show no evidence of a stroke or seizure disorder. McConnell's office released the information yesterday as he returned to work at the Capitol. The GOP leader froze up last week during a press conference in Kentucky, marking his second public freeze-up within the past month. The situation has fueled questions about McConnell's ability to remain in office. It also got to mention McConnell did fall and hit his head at a dinner in Washington earlier this year. He suffered a concussion as a result of that, but there has been no direct link between that and the symptoms that he's been experiencing as of late. And today, a judge will try to set a trial scheduled in the Georgia election case against former President Donald Trump and 18 other defendants. This week, those who had not yet entered pleas did so and waived a formal arraignment. They're accused of participating in an illegal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Legal experts have said the case calendar may be the most difficult task for the judge to tackle, setting a date when all 19 defendants, their attorneys, and witnesses can appear. A federal judge has sentenced former Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio to 22 years in prison for his role in the January 6th insurrection. Tarrio was charged with several counts, including seditious conspiracy. Yesterday, the judge called Tarrio the ultimate leader of the plot to violently overturn the 2020 election results. Tarrio's sentence marks the stiffest punishment so far in more than 1,100 Capitol riot cases. New in the war in Ukraine, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Kyiv. He arrived at 4:30 this morning. The State Department did not announce the trip ahead of time. The visit follows Russia's first missile attack on Ukraine's capital in a week. U.S. officials say Blinken will assess Ukraine's counteroffensive, signal continued support for Kyiv, and discuss possible export routes for Ukrainian grain following Russia's exit from a deal that had allowed conventional exports to continue. And Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett and Republican candidate for mayor Jefferson Shreve will debate live on Wish TV next month. The two candidates agreed to a 1-hour debate inside the News 8 studios. It'll happen Monday, October 23rd. It starts at 6 o'clock. To the Pacers, guard Tyrese Haliburton's performance off the bench helped Team USA move on to the FIBA World Cup semifinals. Haliburton scored 18 points in the team's quarterfinal matchup against Italy yesterday. He also dished out 5 assists, one which was pretty amazing. He jumps up, got some air, goes between his legs, tosses an alley-oop to Orlando Magic's Paolo Banchero, and the USA gets a victory 100-63. Team USA will now wait until Friday to face off against the winner of this morning's matchup between Latvia and Germany. Monument Circle will host a special celebration of 40 seasons of Colts history in Indianapolis. A team-themed Shining a Light show starts at 9 tonight. The team also promises a big party Friday night. In late July, owner and CEO Jim Irsay announced the Colts kickoff concert, which sold out within weeks. The event will showcase the Jim Irsay Band, comprised of famous musicians like Kenny Aronoff on the drums, of course, famous within the Rolling Stones, Billy Branch, 3-time Grammy nominee on the harmonica, and others. There will also be performances from John Mellencamp and Ann Wilson. Plenty of artifacts on display from the Jim Irsay collection. Fans can check out memorabilia spanning 40 seasons. Magician Chris Angel will be there too. Later this week, the Colts will send an email to fans who've reserved their tickets. Colts play Jacksonville Sunday at 1 p.m. in the season home opener. The Indianapolis Zoo is celebrating the historic first-time birth of a new African elephant. Zahara the elephant gave birth to a 262-pound baby boy Monday. According to the zoo, it marks the first elephant in the world, Asian or African, to be born through artificial insemination to a mother who was also born through artificial insemination. Officials say the two bonded quickly. The baby calf is the 7th to be born at the zoo. It doesn't have a name yet. And to business headlines, the federal deficit is projected to roughly double this year as bigger interest payments and lower tax receipts widen the nation's spending imbalance. Even though the economy is growing, it's not growing fast enough to make up for government's record spending in the past few years. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget predicts the deficit will be $2 trillion this month. U.S. gas prices this week hit the highest seasonal level in more than 10 years. Oil prices jumped as Saudi Arabia and Russia say they'll pump less oil. AAA pegged the average price of a gallon of regular gasoline at $3.81 on Tuesday, the highest post-Labor Day price since 2012. In Indianapolis, AAA says the current average is $3.59 a gallon. End of summer airfare discounts are in full swing with students back in school and more workers back in the office. It's the latest signal that flight pricing might be returning more normal. An analysis from travel app Hopper found that the cheapest fares heading into the fall are cheaper than before. Fall fares are down 9% from last year and down 10% from 2019. Instagram has new back-to-school safety features for parents and kids. Dana Geldwart, head of global policy programs at Instagram, says one of those is parental supervision.
Once it's enabled, parents can set daily time limits for their teens. They can also schedule block hours for when they don't want their teen to have access to the app.
Other features are quiet mode, where the teen won't get notifications, and a restrict mode, where you can ignore bullies without them knowing you've restricted them. Hallmark is launching a new high-tech card. Basically, you can send a physical gift card loaded with money. People will be able to choose cards from different ranges, such as birthday, congrats, wedding, holiday, and everyday cards. They can then scan the QR code inside the card, add the amount they want to gift, write a note, and send it. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.